going to talk through a little bit some of the work I've been doing most recently that I think you might be most interested in learning about. So I'm going to share a little bit about a new council on Virginia Tech's history and some of the work that the council's been doing that's actually been really exciting, and then talk about our strategic planning process. So last fall, President Sands appointed a council to think about our sesquicentennial in 2022, so really 4 short years away, and thinking about the reality that the history of Virginia Tech's been associated with the history of Virginia, the South, and America. And so he charged us with thinking about how might we begin to prepare for this milestone at Virginia Tech, thinking about how have we told our story in the past, how are we going to tell it going forward. And so we've got a committee of about 35 individuals that met for the entire fall and spring semester. We have a set of proposals that are really amazing, from thinking about how do we recognize the Native American presence on as part of our history, the presence of how do we think about maybe a video production that just showcases our history, maybe a play, a theater production. So there are just a lot of different ideas that we've bubbled up, and now we're going to think about how to move some of those forward. The other piece that I'm involved in, so one part of my work is now looking in the past at Virginia Tech's history, and the other is looking at the future. So it's really been wonderful to have those two juxtapositions. So the future is beyond boundaries. So about 4 years ago, when President Sands came, he set forth a vision for Virginia Tech to 2047. So a generation out, what do we need to be thinking about to make sure we're still a strong and vibrant Virginia Tech? And so that effort brought together a large component of our campus to think about how do we continue to attract strong talent, think about issues of diversity and inclusion, how do we manage our finances in terms of our relationship with the state and philanthropy, and just structure ourselves to be able to respond to just challenges that exist in the world of higher ed. And then we recognize that we have a lot of current initiatives that are happening. We've identified some areas that we call destination and strategic growth areas, just areas of excellence in research that we want to continue to emphasize. Our efforts around diversity and inclusion, and you just heard about the campus master plan, and again, thinking about how do we use the land that we have, and then our budget model. So what we've done in terms of strategic planning is think about 2047, this big, huge, sort of long ways away. What are the steps and the framework we need to have in place to be able to begin to achieve that larger vision? And so there's a committee of probably about 40 people, and we started our work most aggressively in January and have been meeting almost every 2 weeks, sometimes weekly, through May through June. So we started by just educating ourselves, like who are we? How do we understand what's happening in every college, what the institutes are doing, what administrative areas are doing? How do we learn about ourselves as an institution? And then we shared what we learned. Essentially, we've created a draft vision, mission, core values, and strategic objectives, and went through across the entire campus. We have these commissions on different areas, and shared with them our thinking and got their feedback. And then we looked at prior strategic plans. Starting in 2001, there has been a fairly robust strategic planning process and strategic plans created. So there was a 2001 plan, a 2006, a 2012 plan. So we looked at the prior plans and current structure of the university and created draft documents. So what you have before you, and it's a little bit complicated, but there's a reason why it's redlined and crossed out. So you can see the evolution of our thinking over time. So where we've arrived now is there's a draft vision statement that says Virginia Tech positively transforms lives and communities and inspires the world in the spirit of its motto, ut prosum, that I may serve. So that's the inspirational and aspirational statement of who we want to become as a university. And this is the mission, that as a global comprehensive public land grant, we positively transform lives and communities by creating, conveying, and applying knowledge, technology, and experiences within the Commonwealth of Virginia and throughout the world. So that's the current draft mission that we're working through. And then a set of core values. So we've identified 10 core values: ut prosum, diversity, opportunity and affordability, collaboration, mutual respect, ethics and integrity, lifelong learning, discovery and innovation, freedom of inquiry, and continuous evaluation. So those 10 core values we feel undergird and guide us, should guide us moving forward. And then we have 10 strategic objectives. So the land grant experience, sort of this research service, teaching, engagement and economic impact relating to our relationship with the state, research, diversity and inclusion, student success, faculty and staff success, alumni engagement, and then financial sustainability, the campus of the future, the infrastructure, and then continuous planning. So our work this summer, we are continuing to work through the summer. President Sands, as part of Beyond Boundaries, set forth a aspiration for Virginia Tech to become a top 100 global university. And so we're spending some time this summer beginning to understand what does it mean for us to become a top 100 global institution. How do we put some metrics and goals associated with these strategic objectives? So that's the work that we're starting this summer. But our hope is to emerge from the end of the summer with a high-level framework, some clear goals and metrics for some of those goals, and then to go back out to groups and bodies like this and to get feedback, ideas, insight, suggestions. So that was just a short presentation because I would love to really have a conversation to get your maybe gut thinking when you read these statements, when you think either about the Virginia Tech's history, what you think is important for us to keep in mind and maybe highlight as you think about our future. What are your thoughts that, should be part of the strategic planning and thinking process?